Okay.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining our Looker Partner webinar on delivery verification. You were invited here because you've already made great progress in your delivery enablement journey. And now we wanted to talk about just the next steps and final things to close out your journey and earn that delivery verified badge. So the agenda for today is to talk about what is delivery verification. So for some of you, if you have started your journey a while ago, maybe a couple months ago, it might be helpful to have this kind of refresher. So we'll discuss the delivery enablement partner workshops of business intelligence levels 1 through 4, just kind of what they are. We did change them in September. So I'll give a summary of that change and what it might or might not mean for you. Then I'll give a couple quick tips on LookML Developer certification. Already heard these during your partner workshop. There's not much different. So main update would be, or main thing to mention is that there still is no practice exam in case that's what you're hoping for, but just pushing you along and just talking about what it takes to get certified. Then the experiential learning phase of your journey. And finally, I'll try to leave some time for open question and answer, so Q&A. My name is Rebecca. I lead here with Looker Professional Services, so I own this overall delivery enablement journey and the program structure and requirements. And some of you may recall my name and my voice from previous partner workshops if you happen to attend mine. So what is delivery verification? So we have been talking about this, but again, if you started your journey some time ago, it may be helpful to get this reminder. Certification is different from verification. So certification, at least in the Looker world, is something that anybody could do. So you don't even have to take our partner workshops. You don't even have to be a Looker customer. My father or my brother could sign up for certification, right? So anybody can really go to looker.com/certification, register for the exam, and possibly pass it if you have done a lot of studying on your own. Today we have two. We have exams for LookML Developer and Business Analyst. There is an administrator one coming soon. It's going to be entering beta next month. And it proves competency in a single Looker role. So it just proves that you understand LookML development or that you understand how to assemble visualizations and dashboards, that sort of thing. But it doesn't prove that you would be an effective or an excellent Looker consultant. So that is a more holistic, it's a broader scope of effort, and that's what verification tries to prove. So delivery verification in the Looker Partner Network, it entails certification, but as for our partner consultant delivery practitioners, it shows that not only are you capable in LookML development, you do need to have that certification as a milestone to your overall journey, but it proves that you have taken on additional learning in other concepts that are critical to customer success with Looker, and shows that you overall can be a competent Looker consultant. So that is the difference between certification and Looker delivery verification. So verification, you can kind of think of like when you are on a social media platform like Twitter or Instagram, and there's a celebrity on these platforms, right? They always have that blue check mark next to their name because they're verified, like this is really the account for that celebrity. So kind of that can be a little trick to remember the word that you're looking for here in the Looker Partner Network. Our professional services methodology entails or is built upon 3 pillars for success. A lot of people, when they think about Looker or think about being a Looker consultant, they imagine just the technology delivery portion of it. So first thing that comes to mind is LookML, or Looker modeling language. And so they figure being a Looker consultant, you got to know LookML. You have to know how to build reports and dashboards, be able to advise on architecture, configurations, data privacy, data security, these kinds of concepts. And definitely that is crucial to being successful with Looker and to be a great Looker partner delivery practitioner. However, Looker being a subscription platform, it's got other components to it, right? You could write the best LookML model, you could provision all the right users, groups, permissions, data security, everything. But if you don't think about these 2 other pillars of success, your customer may still end up not being a successful Looker customer. So that is why we have additional learning required of our verified delivery practitioners on business outcomes, which is analyzing the customer's use cases. Why did they purchase Looker? How do they hope that Looker is going to improve their business? How is Looker supposed to deliver them value, return on investment? Basically, how is Looker going to help them at work. And then there's also data culture. That is about training, enablement, teaching people to be data literate beyond just clicking the buttons, picking the fields in the Explore, clicking the Run button. How are they understanding what they're really seeing? How are they interpreting the data and building meaningful content around the data? And how can they take data to drive their decisions and next steps? So again, technology delivery, definitely important. Definitely we want you to take that certification exam and prove that you know LookML. But you also need to be cognizant of these other pillars and be successful advisors to your customers on business outcomes and data culture. So that's what the overall verification program is trying to prove. So some of you may have seen this kind of slide before. Right? This is our overall delivery verification journey. There's some preliminary paperwork and some logistics that need to be sorted out. But then delivery enablement, here is our kind of classroom learning, the academics of Looker. We have our workshops that we ask most people to attend when they can for business intelligence levels 1 through 4. And then after taking the workshops, you can start preparing for and taking the LookML Developer certification exam. After which point, you will have that credential in hand, that one really great milestone in your overall verification journey, which is LookML Developer certification. And if you're interested, we do have some self-service content on our Skilljar site. I think many of you probably have found it already. And the intention there is to supplement your learnings for BI levels 1 through 4 from the workshops. So think about delivery enablement, this phase, this block of kind of red background text as going to school to learn about Looker, and then your LookML Developer certification exam is kind of like taking the SAT or the ACT or whatever university exams you have. Then experiential learning is kind of like getting an internship. So how do we get real on-the-job experience as a Looker delivery practitioner? So we have case studies available. These are on our Skilljar site. It's an e-learning module where you get rich hands-on experience in developing LookML. Since we don't have a practice exam for certification, our best recommendation is to practice writing LookML. So keep trying different things, keep practicing different parameters and concepts, and exercising your LookML development skills. And the case studies are really great practice because they present lots of scenarios for you. So they have you imagine you work at an e-commerce company and the executives want you to build dashboards on things like cohort analysis, total sales, profit, inventory, all these kind of concepts. So you get lots of practice analyzing business requirements or business scenarios and thinking about which LookML concepts you need to apply to fulfill them. And then you actually have to go and develop that LookML. And then we also have shadowing. So we ask that you either shadow a real Looker project or you take our shadowing e-learning, which is like a fictional role play project, but it's very realistic and representative of what a basic implementation looks like. You can optionally co-deliver on a real project with Looker through what we call partner success services. Those of you who are already GCP partners, you may be familiar with this term. It's the same idea. There are some additional things you can do. You can do like mock presentations, mock deliveries. You can perform an audit or a code review on your case studies. That's just to make sure you really master our best practices and you are able to provide feedback on your own work. But really the number 4 case studies and number 5 shadowing, these are the bare minimum requirements of experiential learning. And after you complete these, you get your delivery verified status and you will get an email with a badge. So you will be ready for independent services delivery. And after earning this delivery verification status, we ask that partners submit customer success stories. This is also the same idea with GCP, if you are familiar with GCP's partner network and processes. Basically, it's when you've worked on a customer project, what was their problem? How did you help them implement the solution? How did you help them measure ROI and drive data culture, these kinds of things? And you can continue to co-deliver with Looker through partner success services as well. Just continue to build your expertise and build up a really robust portfolio of past customer work. So to summarize, complete BI levels 1 through 4, which the vast majority of you here have done. We tried to invite only people who did complete BI levels 1 through 4. So you've already done at least 20 hours of enablement. You're almost done with that delivery enablement phase, and it's really just experiential learning required for some of you remaining. So make sure you get that LookML Developer certification, you complete the case studies, and you shadow and or co-deliver a Looker engagement. And in fact, even though the case studies we kind of bundle, we say it's number 4 because we wanted to organize the academic classroom learning in one area, and then we wanted to put the experiential on-the-job learning in another area. But there's nothing prohibiting you, after you've completed BI levels 1 through 4, you can go ahead and dive into case studies and shadowing even before you get your LookML Developer certification. In fact, I would strongly recommend doing case studies before developer certification, again, because it is the best way you can practice and prepare for the exam. So here's like one path you can take, but you could have number 3 be complete case studies, and then number 4 be acquire LookML Developer certification. The sequence itself is not so important as long as I think it's best just to do the workshops first, like get that theory, get that information about the concepts, and then see those concepts in action or exercise those concepts in the experiential learning and the exam. A little update on the BI levels 1 through 4. If you took our workshops prior to September 14, 2020, we kicked off with BI level 1 being technology delivery. So that was learning LookML as well as some admin features. And that was 12 hours long. Then we did BI levels 2 and 3, data culture and business outcomes of 2 hours each. We did that after technology delivery. And finally, BI level 4 was technology expanded, which was 4 hours long. So it was 20 hours total of enablement, and a typical training schedule would look like this. So if you took the EMEA workshops, I know it was a little bit different. We tended to do technology delivery on like the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then we did BI levels 2 and 3 the following Monday, and we did tech expanded the following Tuesday. But in AMER, it was basically you would start off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, learning LookML. Thursday, we combined data culture with business outcomes, and then Friday was tech expanded. We did switch that up after September 14, 2020. Feedback we had gotten was people felt diving straight into LookML, it provided no context. They felt like, wait, what is Looker? I don't even know what Looker is yet, and you're just throwing me into the code. We had feedback that even if they understood the code, people felt the exercises, like they didn't really get the point of the exercises. They felt that there was no context again, and that they didn't get the value of LookML. So we flipped some things around. Now, after September 14, 2020, when you take the workshops, we open with the business outcomes. So we lay out very clearly what is Looker as a data platform, why do people get Looker, and how does LookML fit into this? So what is the point of learning LookML? Why is LookML so crucial to driving maximum business outcomes with Looker? So now we open with that. Then BI level 2 is still data culture, partially because that way the 2 hours and the 2 hours fit together nicely in one day. We now have BI level 3 being technology delivery. So now we get to this pillar after you've already learned business outcomes and data culture, and technology expanded is still BI level 4. So it's still 20 hours, and the training calendar kind of now looks like this, where the first day of training is BI levels 1 and 2, business outcomes and data culture. Then the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we learn the LookML and the admin stuff. And then Friday, we learn BI level 4. So how does this affect you? What's the point of this? If you've already completed all 4 BI levels, which again, the vast majority of you did in order to get invited to this webinar, no impact. You're done. So no worries about this. But if you have colleagues who are still in the middle of their journey, they've only done either what used to be BI level 1 or what is now currently BI level 3, we did update their records. So we know that they've completed the LookML training, that technology delivery. They do still need to complete the other courses as part of their enablement journey. And if you yourself are still working on BI level 1 or 3, which is the technology delivery, same idea, your records were already updated, but you do still need to complete the other workshops or the other courses. So after the delivery enablement courses, how do we get certified? The LookML Developer Certification exam is located here, looker.com/certification. That's really got most of the information that we are allowed to offer upfront about the exam. So there's a tab that says Exam Guides. Click on that, and then you scroll to the bottom, and it says LookML Developer or Business Analyst. So if you click on LookML Developer, it does tell you this exam is 100 minutes long, it's 65 multiple choice questions, and it has a breakdown of the different sections and what kinds of topics will be covered on the exam. And it's got a lot of documentation links as well. So on that certification page, make sure you read all those documentation links. So most of those questions in the exam are sourced in the documentation somewhere. Sometimes you have to read between the lines, like sometimes the documentation tells you A plus B, and then you have to figure out the connection between those and what C would be. But read the documentation links really, really closely. Some of the questions do pick like very specific things from there or very specific behavior, and that'll give you really great foundation. And if you can review past recordings of workshops that we did, whether it was with me or another member of Looker Professional Services, that'll be really helpful. But ultimately, best form of practice, again, I can't emphasize this enough, is really just the case studies that we offer on our SkillJar site. And we are posting the PDF of the slides in this platform, so you should be able to access the PDF after this webinar. And we have links inside the slides as well as some other supplementary links for this webinar. So you should have all the information you need after we're done today. There are 65 questions, as I mentioned, on the exam, and they're all scenario-based. So they are all saying, hypothetically, you work at this company, the company needs to do a thing. What is the LookML concept you need to fulfill this thing? Or what is the correct LookML code to fulfill this scenario? So it's a lot of analyzing situations. And again, that is why the case studies are so helpful, because they give you that practice analyzing business scenarios. You have a Looker partner instance, so you should know where that is. It's usually like your company name.looker.com. Some of you may be company name.cloud.looker.com. You should definitely log in there. That is your sandbox, and that is where you should be working on the case study. So every partner instance comes equipped with a Snowflake database connection that contains the e-commerce data. So you should be able to model all those scenarios, all those business requirements using that data in your partner instance of Looker. Actually, on the exam, a lot of the scenarios are based on e-commerce. So getting some of that practice with that e-commerce Snowflake data source does give you a little bit of an advantage, I think. And again, I got to keep emphasizing this, use the case studies to practice analyzing your business requirements. If you took the technology delivery workshop before, which used to be BI level 1, is now BI level 3. Again, at the end of that, we did offer certification prep. So we spent maybe 15, 20 minutes talking about it. Actually, a while ago, if you joined a partner workshop in April or May, maybe even June, we did this at the end of BI level 4. So we've had the certification prep for a while. For a while, it was just in different workshops, but try to look back on that. You should still have access to workshops in SkillJar. So you can locate the slides in SkillJar, and you can dig up the old certification prep that we provided there. Right now, it's in the BI level 3 slides. So I've got a sample question for you here. Some transactions in the data set have the status equal to test. How can a LookML developer make sure those transactions are never displayed to end users? So I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. Oh, sorry, it should say A, B, C, D. I don't know why they all say A. But always filters A, SQL always wears B, conditionally filters C, and SQL always having is D. So I'll give you a few seconds just to think about which parameter should be correct, and then we'll display the answer. Okay. I do see some responses in the chat, so that's good. You could use the chat to answer there. And it is actually B. So why is it B? because the key word is the transaction should never be displayed to end users. So if you do A with always filter, that suggests a default filter. It does show up in the UI so that business users opening the Explorer, they would see the filter criteria there. They could change the criteria, but they can't remove the filter itself. So they could set it to like, oh, definitely only show me transactions with a status equal to test. And that's what we would want. C is also wrong because conditionally filter, similarly to always filter, it does show the filter in the front end to the business user. And the point of conditionally filter is that they could swap out the filter for a specific other filter. So they could potentially remove the filter on status is not equal to test. And SQL always having, choice D, was also wrong because that actually only works on measures. So you could set SQL always having count greater than 5, or SQL always having total revenue greater than 1,000, those kinds of things. So that's why B, SQL always where, is the correct answer. So this is actually like a simplified version of the type of question you might get on the exam. The ones on the exam are a little bit harder, but they're always like this. You know, you have an imaginary data set and there's a LookML developer and they need to accomplish a specific thing or they have a task on hand. So what would they need to do? And sometimes you should read the question pretty clearly because it says transactions are never displayed to end users. So I would say a keyword here is the word never. And SQL always where is a filter that the business users can't change it. So that makes sure that they can never see the transactions with the status of test. So that's it. We don't have a sample exam because this one sample question is all we can offer. And now we have a poll up for you all. If you could take a few seconds to answer this poll, don't worry, the answers will not be displayed to anybody else. It's just for me and our operations program to see what kind of just get a temperature check of what you all are feeling right now with certification. We did invite some of you who already have your certification. But if you don't already have it, let us know if you are registered, you're planning to take it soon. If no, you're still feeling like you have a lot of preparation to do, so you're not even setting a registration date yet. Or if you didn't even know we had the certification or that it was a requirement for partner verification. So I'll leave this up for a few more seconds. And again, we're not going to show the responses to everybody. It's really just for Looker to know. Okay, hopefully that was enough time. I'm curious to see the responses later. And then finally, we have experiential learning. So when it comes to experiential learning, we have case studies. I've mentioned this a few times now. This gives you hands-on practice to develop LookML and build dashboards. And there is a link here in the slides to find the case studies on our SkillJar site. And you can certainly jump into the case studies before certification. In fact, we recommend it to practice. Then there's shadowing. I happened to skim through the Q&A. I saw questions about shadowing. So how do you like real project experience with Looker? We have a delivery shadowing e-learning. So this is new. Some of you who started the journey or started the Looker relationship a long time ago, you might not have been aware of this update, but we just launched this earlier this year, a couple months ago. So it's a brand new e-learning where you sit through 6 hours of recording. If we ask you to shadow a real project, it's going to be at least 9-10 hours anyway. So this is actually a little bit quicker. And typically, if you were to shadow a real project, it might take like several weeks. It might take 7 weeks. It might take 90 days. So you could hypothetically finish this in one day. So in one day, if this is the only thing you're lacking, if you've already gotten your certification, you could watch these recordings and you might be delivery verified tomorrow. The other option, so this is on SkillJar. Again, you can find the PDF of the slides, and you can find the link and kind of realistic implementation for a simple startup. So it is role play. It's not like a real project, but it is very realistic to how a professional services consultant would typically advise a new Looker customer. Then all other alternatives, just in general, how do partners interact with Looker professional services? We might co-sell, so you might come up with some interesting Looker opportunities or potential deals, and you might engage with us. You might shadow a real Looker project as opposed to that e-learning that I just showed you. You might sign partner success services where we would have transaction. We would work together on a customer deal. That can mitigate risk. It can also teach you. We have our Looker professional services consultant teaching you along the way, and we would be co-pilots. Less often, PSO from Looker could also subcontract to you for, again, hands-on enablement and co-piloting. But these two are the ones to focus on. They're eligible credits toward delivery verification. If there is an opportunity in the pipeline, we encourage getting this real hands-on experience with a real customer. I think that's probably the best way to learn. The slide I showed earlier with the e-learning, the recorded role play scenario, that's a great way just to go ahead and get verified, not wait for an opportunity. We don't want the opportunity pipeline to become a bottleneck. So if you find you've been waiting for a long time to shadow a real project, go ahead and take the e-learning is our recommendation. But if it is possible, if you can get signed on with a real Looker project, PSO will reach out to you about that opportunity. Subcontracting also can count as a credit toward delivery verification. Just didn't highlight it because I don't want you to expect that that is as likely to happen as shadowing or partner success services. These are the main two avenues that are more dependable. After that, you'll be delivery verified, ready to deliver Looker services. After delivery verification, we ask that you submit customer success stories. Not uncommon in the industry, just talk about previous customer work that you've done. There's a form in this PDF. It builds up a template like this. You just submit a Google form and we'll put together this template. And so to summarize, complete BI levels 1 through 4. Most of you have already done that. Get your LookML Developer certification. Some of you did that already even. And complete the case studies, still a gap for a lot of people. And finally, that shadowing or that experiential learning is a really key missing piece for pretty much everyone on this call. Then you get your delivery verified badge. You get an email from this email address. You don't have to worry about what the actual email address is. If you think you've gotten it, if you have actually done Looker work and you are certified, you think you should have gotten this badge already, definitely reach out to your Looker partner manager. So your Looker partner manager is your main point of contact, and talk to them about this. It's possible that we actually do a lot of manual record keeping, so we might have missed you. So let them know if you think you should have gotten your badge, and we will be happy to clarify any gaps for you. Okay, so how are you feeling now? Got another poll question for you. And again, we're not going to show the results to everybody. It's just helpful for me to know. Do you think this helped clear up the next steps, or kind of, but you still need some clarification? Or regardless of whether it's clear or not, do you feel maybe you just don't have any bandwidth the rest of this year to pursue the next steps? So I'll leave it up for a few more seconds. Okay, so that doesn't leave us a lot of time for Q&A. I think I spent longer on some previous sections than before, but questions in the chat, I'm just gonna go chronologically. I thought this would go over mock delivery. Mock delivery is part of an additional step. So delivery verification is like getting your university degree. Mock delivery is an additional step for what's kind of like a grad school of Looker's partner network. So that's not in scope of this training, but if you have questions about it, definitely contact your partner manager. Somebody said, we don't have a partner instance. You should, but that is another great question for your partner manager. That they should be able to set you up with one, or at least tell you where yours is. Someone said, can we take the e-learning shadowing multiple times? You should be able to. You should be able to keep going back and reviewing additional the previous recordings. I can look into your specific student account. Sometimes our learning management system, SkillJar, is a bit weird about letting people re-enroll in the same training. Where does the badge show up? The badge is an image file that I attach to an email and I send it out to you. You can put that image in your email signature. You can add it to LinkedIn. I send out instructions to add it to LinkedIn, and you can put it on your website. So it's just an image file, so you can put it wherever you want. Is one LookML certification per company okay? We asked that at least 2 delivery practitioners per company become delivery verified. So at least 2 people should get their LookML certification. And ideally, each person who's planning to do any Looker delivery, any Looker projects, they should also have their LookML certification and be Looker delivery verified. So got another question about the Mock Foundations webinar. So that's the same question as somebody asked earlier before. The Mock Foundations webinar is part of basically our grad school requirements, which is emerging growth verification. So it goes above and beyond delivery verification. So first you have to be delivery verified, and then you may work with Looker Professional Services on those additional steps of mock delivery. Question said, do we get Looker swag after verification? Not verification. You get Looker swag from certification. After you pass the exam, I think you get to choose socks or a hat. That's what it was when I did it. But verification, for now, you just get the email with the badge image files. But certainly I can look into offering some more swag. Question in the chat, can we use case studies to prepare for LookML certification? Absolutely, that would definitely be my recommendation. That's the best and one of really the only ways we can suggest to prepare. Is there any pathway or support for Looker Business Analyst certification? Not in our partner training. In our partner training, we don't talk much at all about Business Analyst certification, but we have a Data Explorer Bootcamp is what we call it. That's on training.looker.com. That is our the best way to prepare for Business Analyst certification, I would say. There are still some gaps there. I know there are questions in the exam for business analysts that are not in our Data Explorer training. The only other thing I can advise is really reading all of those documentation links. Really read them carefully and think about why somebody might use this feature, why somebody might do a thing, what does this button do, and really dive into your partner instance and try every feature, click on every button, and really make sure you understand what the purpose of everything is. I think the business analyst certification actually might be harder than LookML developer certification. Are BI levels 1 through 4 workshops self-service or some instructor-led classes? We strongly recommend taking the instructor-led classes. We don't have any in Q4 for now because they're on hiatus for Q4. But there are self-service, they're all available self-service, but they're also all available instructor-led. And our preference is for you to take them instructor-led. Okay, and someone said, I've completed BI levels 1 through 4 and delivery shadowing. I'm working on case studies, but I'm overwhelmed by all the learning materials. So yeah, great point. The LookML certification really just focuses on LookML development, whereas our overall training, we have business outcomes, we have data culture, we have all this other stuff. So since you've already finished all the other stuff, that's really awesome. It sounds like just the exam is missing for you. You should just focus on the LookML training. So just practice writing LookML code and reading all those documentation pages. You don't actually need anything about business outcomes or data culture for the exam. And somebody said a little bit questions still around shadowing options. Yep. So I think the clearest way to complete the shadowing is to take the e-learning. It's 6 hours long, and you could finish it in one day if that's what you choose. So just like tomorrow or by the end of the week, you could become delivery verified, completing the shadowing options, assuming you've already also gotten your LookML developer certification. The other opportunity is if you have customer opportunities in the pipeline, if Looker Professional Services sees one and they want to invite you to join, or these days it's become a little bit of a bottleneck, honestly. We just have so many deals and so many partners who want to shadow. If you have a customer deal yourself and you want to bring it and co-deliver that with Looker, that's probably better than waiting for an invitation from Looker. But the easiest and most straightforward one is just to take the e-learning, because that will also satisfy the requirement. Somebody else, we have had folks tackle the cert exam after taking the workshop and it was not enough to clear the cert. Yeah, there's so much to learn. I think in the workshop, we should hit on all the topics for certification. So it might be helpful to review the BI Level 3 e-learning, which should also cover the topic. So on the Skilljar site, we have an e-learning course that is dedicated to LookML. So I recommend watching that, going through that e-learning. That could help. Continuing to practice with the case studies in your partner instance is really going to be the best way aside from that. So same idea that I gave for business analysts. Make sure you read all the documentation really thoroughly. Make sure you really understand, like, what is the point of this feature? What is the point of this parameter or this concept? Why would a customer care about this? Why would a customer use that? And really thinking through all these things is really helpful. And I think if you still have questions about it, if you have questions about a specific feature, reach out to your partner manager. And the partner manager also has a partner sales engineer who's like the technical counterpart, and they can answer any questions you have about specific LookML features or parameters. How crucial is it to have a partner instance to pass the cert exam? It's crucial to get hands-on practice to pass the cert exam. Where you do the hands-on practice, not as important. Most people only have their partner instance, so most people have to use their partner instance to get hands-on experience to pass the exam. But if you took the training in what we call the open enrollment or the public partner workshop, we granted you access to teach.corp.looker.com, right? That might sound familiar to some of you. So you can do the same exercises in teach.corp.looker.com using the same, we use the data analyst bootcamp project. So you could use that project and complete the exercises as well. So the main emphasis is on hands-on practice. Another question in the chat, what's the difficulty level of the test? I thought it was okay. It's going to depend on who you ask, right? So for me, I've been with Looker for 3 years. And the first 2.5 years, I was a Looker delivery practitioner. So I was a professional services consultant helping to write LookML for my customers. So I didn't study for the exam at all, and I almost got 100%. But again, that was my day-to-day job. I wrote LookML every day for a living for 2.5 years. We've seen partners who also worked with Looker for a year plus, and they barely passed the exam. They thought it was very difficult. I also just saw another partner. She took the workshops last month, and a week ago she got certified. So she knew nothing about Looker. She took the workshops, actually with me. So she attended my training, and she got certified 2 or 3 weeks later. So it really varies. It depends on kind of just your overall bandwidth, how much you can study, how much you're going to practice writing LookML, any prior experience with SQL analytics tools. It's hard to say, but overall, it's 65 questions. You get 100 minutes, so you have less than 2 minutes per question. Some of these business situations are a little bit complicated. You have to read the question a few times to understand what the question is asking. It's, let's see, 65 questions. So you have to get 75% correct to pass. So that's how I can speak to that. And shadowing, a good way to pass the exam. I think I already answered this one. So then some other questions that came up. If I don't have business analyst experience, is there a chance to pass LookML certification exam? Yes. So you don't need any business analyst knowledge or information to pass the LookML certification exam. And is BI Level 4 necessary for the certification exam? Nope. So BI Level 4 is also technology. So I can see why that would be a question, but the only technology on the cert exam is BI Level 3. So it's actually writing LookML with dimensions, measures, views, explores, caching, derived tables, user access with access grants, access filters, all of those, Git projects, that kind of thing. Does teach.corp.looker.com access expire? Nope. We're supposed to clean up the users, like delete the users every few months, but we never do it. So you basically have access indefinitely until we delete the instance. And the environment was, not sure how I can send things out to the overall group. teach.corp.looker.com. Does that help? I just sent it. I don't know if there's like a whiteboarding feature. Oh, I could do a screen share. but I'll just say it again. So it's teach, T-E-A-C-H dot corp, C-O-R-P, like corporate, dot looker dot com. That's the training environment. So you should have you would have a login there if you took our public workshops before. If you didn't take public workshops, then you probably took custom workshops just for your company, and they must have been run on your own Looker Partner instance. So I think Looker Partner instance is the best way to go. Everybody should have one. Check with your partner manager if you don't. But if you don't want to use it, or you just like don't know where it is, or you prefer to use Teach for whatever reason, you can, but you need to have a login in Teach already. So teach.corp.looker.com. Okay, I think that is the end of the questions. So apologies, we did run quite a bit late. I spent a little bit longer than anticipated on some of the previous topics. I also didn't expect there to be so many questions. So thanks a lot for those of you who stuck around to the very end. I'm excited to see the poll results afterward. And I'm excited to see you get certified and do the delivery shadowing. So it'll be great. Thanks so much.